Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 317. Got another garage gym workout here for you. It's the parking garage for my apartment building. I'm actually really lucky to have this space. Like when I first moved into this apartment building, I had no idea this place even existed. Then my flatmate who I live with decided to show me this one day, and I was like, this is such a fantastic space. So naturally, I had to get all of my stuff moved up here. So I put my barbell up, my bumper plates up, so that I can, if needs must, the gym's close. I don't make it to the gym during the day. I've always got this as like a space where I can do workouts in. And what's better about this place than where I used to work out back in my home garage back at home is that I've got the space to do sprints here as well. So I really have all of the resources available to me, even when I don't want to go to the gym, even when I can't get to the gym in time or the gym's closed. I don't get the time in the day to go to the gym. I still have the space available to do sprints, weightlifting, jumping. Interestingly enough, I measured the height of this little archway here. So you can't see the top of it here, but you can see the top of the one in the distance over there with that sort of metal girder going across the top. The very top of that metal girder, like the part that's closest to the ground, is actually 10 feet from the ground. Perfectly 10 feet. I measured it with my tape measure the other day, and which means because it's 10 feet, it's like the perfect thing to aim for and the perfect thing to measure my vertical jump against. I'll know if I've done a successful vertical jump if I can touch that with certain parts of my hand. So that's also a very useful way of measuring my vertical jump. But back to today's workout. What was on the agenda was sprints. So I wanted to do like a nice quick warm up for the sprints, just make sure my body was feeling good. These were just sprints. Probably, I didn't measure out the distance exactly. I would say I sprinted probably 20 meters from a run up. Just trying to reach top end speed as quickly as possible. Focus on upright running mechanics. And then I supersetted the sprints with some of those bounding drills from a dead stop. So in the past, when I've done bounding drills, I've done a run up, and then I've just tried to cover as much distance as possible. But now I'm doing it from a dead stop. So I'm doing a broad jump, and then I'm just trying to cover as much distance as possible with a given number of bounds. Or you set a distance, and then you try to do that in as few bounds as possible. Generally, I tend to err on the side of just giving myself a set number of bounds and then trying to increase the distance every time. Because if you set a distance and you're just trying to decrease the number of bounds that it takes, once you reach that point where you've almost reached the most you can do, it's going to be very hard to determine if you know exactly, have I decreased the distance by half a bound, a quarter of a bound? It's very hard to know if you've improved it that much. Anyway, then I set a timer for 15 minutes, I think it was, maybe 10. It's just nice to set a timer when you're doing jumping exercises, and just did some full approach vertical jumps. What I'm really working on here is the rhythm and the timing of my approach. So I think one thing that I definitely am not very good at the moment is improving the transfer of momentum from horizontal momentum into vertical impulse. So what you're seeing here is a couple of different drills I've been working on just to work on coming at the approach from different angles, different speeds, off of different plants. So I did a couple of bounds into a vertical jump here. I've even experimented, not in this workout, but in another workout I did later on in the week, with doing it from a kneeling start so I can get lower into my vertical jump. Here you're seeing like lateral bounds where I jump laterally and then try and get into that vertical jump. All of this is just jump variety. Again, I appreciate that I'm not going to be at my top speed if I'm jumping sideways into the vertical jump, but it does drill getting into different positions and jumping. Yeah, so it was about a 15-minute timer. Then, interestingly enough, I decided to do a little bit of variation on the front squats. I decided that I would do some slant board front squats and actually load them up as heavy as I possibly could. For those of you that haven't been watching my channel in the past, you'll know that I like to use this slant board inside, just unweighted as body weight to get a nice pump in my quads. But I've always had the idea, this sort of inkling at the back of my mind, what would it be like if I actually loaded weight onto the slant board, see how heavy I can actually go, because it's going to be nowhere near as heavy as I can do with an actual flat ground or weight where I'm wearing weightlifting shoes in a front squat. It's going to be nowhere near as heavy as that, but by God, it's going to give me one hell of a quad pump, and it's going to really challenge me to actually activate my quads a lot more rather than just trying to shoot my hips back and load up my posterior chain like I usually do in a front squat when the weight gets heavy enough. So what's good about doing it with a slant board is it means that because of the leverages and the extreme heel elevation, it essentially reduces the amount of weight that you need to do in order to um, maximize quad engagement, if that makes sense. So you can actually load a lot less weight and still get a very significant amount of quad engagements. Even here, where I'm pausing in the bottom, I tried to shoot my hips back there, but it's nowhere near as much as if I was doing just a regular front squat, which means that uh, in theory, my knees and my quads, my leg drive is the limiting factor on how well I can do this, how well I can perform this movement. So I only worked up to 100 kilos here with the slant board. Then I decided that I would, kick the slant board away and load the front squats a little bit heavier, maybe just going flat ground. I think I just did the heavier front squats, just barefoot. These are my barefoot shoes, my Zero shoes. So yeah, I think I loaded this to 110 if I'm not mistaken. So that was the last set with 100. Then I jumped up to a top set of 110. But you can even see here, like as I come down, my torso angle changes quite significantly. And that's just because I have really terrible leverages for squatting. My femurs are incredibly long. I've got quite a long torso as well. Quite relatively short tibias, which means that I always struggle with any kind of squatting movement. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't squat. It just means that I'm not going to be able to reach peak level squatting as maybe someone with slightly better leverages would. And last of all, I decided I was going to do some ply push-ups, a bunch of different variations. I have no idea what these different variations are called, but they are quite fun to do. I don't know what it is about increasing the velocity or the speed of doing movements. Doing just regular push-ups on the floor is fun, but when you actually have to move your body fast, moving quickly, it's even more fun. Like doing a pull-up is really good fun, but an explosive pull-up, like a chest-to-bar pull-up, or even better than doing a muscle-up, I just find it way more fun. It's more explosive, and of course, more athletic. Alright guys, that is pretty much it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, drop a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.